From being one of the most beloved athletes in the entire world, to going through a very rocky patch in his career, which might lead to a switch to Ferrari, Lewis Hamilton might just fall from grace. Who saw that coming? Literally no one. I mean, the guy's been racing since he was just 10 years old. It's safe to say that he's a legend in the world of racing, especially since he's won more Grand Prix races than anyone else in F1 history. The driver literally made history back in 2008 when he won the Formula One Drivers' Champions. He's been on the track for his entire life. Hamilton had already won the British Kart Championship by the time he was 10 years old. 3 years later, he joined the McLaren and Mercedes Young Benz Driver Assistance Program. Once he got there, he was given all the tools, guidance, and training he needed to become a great F1 driver. From 1998 to 2000, he was both the European and the world champion at the same time. And in 2003, he won 10 races in the British Formula Renault Series. Yep, he was the best driver there. He took part in the Formula 3 Euro Series event the following year. Finally, after being the champion in 2005, he joined a Grand Prix 2 team. This is a stepping stone for Formula 1 drivers, and in his only season there, he also won the championship. Hamilton then joined the McLaren F1 team back in 2007. In his first year there, he came in second place, just 1 point behind Kimi Räikkönen, and won about 4 races. What's even more amazing is how Hamilton was the youngest driver to win the championship. Well, that was until Sebastian Vettel showed up. To put it plainly, the super racer won 2 races in 2009, 3 races in 2010, and 4 races in 2012. But then he made a big career change. In 2012, he moved on from McLaren and decided to join the Mercedes-Benz F1 team. Even though he had trouble getting used to the cars, he still won his races, so of course his credentials are awesome. But that's just one reason why fans have always loved him. Another reason is that he's a big philanthropist too. His favorite thing to do while he's not racing is to give to charity. The Sunday Times has put him on their 2022 giving list because of how much he helps other people. Astonishingly, the British race car driver gave $20 million to many different charities. Because of this big accomplishment, he was number 5 on the list of donors. In 2022, the 7-time F1 champion was thought to be worth £300 million. This year, he gave away £20 million, which is more than 7% of his income. What's more, Lewis started the nonprofit Mission 44 last year. This was aimed to help youngsters get to where they want to be. He wants to help get rid of economic and educational gaps in the future. And he's even an ally. His charitable work is amazing, and he's been an outspoken ally of the LGBTQ+ community by wearing the Progress Pride flag on his helmet, speaking out in the media and on social media, and not being afraid to stand up for what he believes in as Formula One expands into new territories. The coronavirus epidemic's effects on the whole world only made him want to work for social change even more. So he uses his platform to talk about injustice and inequality. Fans loved it when he talked about his feelings on the death penalty. Only a few champions have worked as hard as this one, and none have been as helpful in making positive changes in society. He speaks out about a ton of issues on his socials and on any platform he can get. These include everything from human rights, diversity and racism to environmental stability. Plus, he was the one who came up with the idea for the Black Lives Matter ceremony before the race. So the 38-year-old has become a well-known crusader for equal opportunities and a skilled speaker in the fight against racial injustice. He's giving Tony Stark vibes, right? It's no joke that the racing superstar has worked very hard to become the best F1 driver of all time. In 14 years and 266 races, he's won 95, set 98 poles, and finished on the podium 165 times. It seemed like nothing could go wrong for the racer. But then, things took a turn for the worse. After all, 2021 and 22 weren't kind to him. After signing with Mercedes in 2013, it took him a little time to get his bearings on the track. As soon as the rules were changed in 2014 to require turbo hybrid engines, Hamilton went on a winning streak that led him to winning 6 more Drivers' Championships. But 2021 hasn't been kind to the racer or the company. Their start in the Formula One season wasn't what they'd hoped for. At the Grand Prix of Emilia-Romagna, he came in last. And at the Formula One race in Jeddah, he was the first driver to drop out of Q1 since 2009. Even though he's used to getting on the podium, it's been unusually hard for him to do this season. He just didn't like the car he was in. After his qualifying run in Melbourne, he used the word rattlesnake to describe it. Racers and fans all over the world wondered if there was a problem with the car or with the racer. Well, just the fact that George Russell did better in the same car than Hamilton didn't look good for the racer. Plus, he just couldn't perform like he used to. When you look at the fastest lap times in the Grand Prix in 2021 and 2022, you can see how much slower Lewis's race pace is. Look at his race in Bahrain. Leclerc won with a time that was 1.658 seconds faster than Hamilton's best lap time. The legend's own time was also 2.213 seconds slower than his best time, which he set back in 2021. As he's getting older, it looks like the player is taking longer to finish his races. This year, Hamilton's average speed is 3.064 seconds slower than it was last year. Again, this might not be his fault per se, as Hamilton has had a lot of trouble with the cars. So it makes sense to say that at the heart of these problems is Mercedes' trouble with porpoising, the aerodynamic effect that makes F1 cars bounce up and down at high speeds. As a result of his reduced timings and the trouble he's been having with his car, the racer was told to quit Mercedes and join Ferrari, which is one of the biggest competitors of Mercedes. Eddie Jordan, who used to own an F1 team, said that Hamilton's move from Mercedes to Ferrari is something that Formula One needs. With Hamilton's contract with Mercedes set to end after the 2023 F1 season, the sport is once again talking a lot about his future in the sport, especially as the British driver hasn't tried to hide how unhappy he is with Mercedes. The big question is, who will make room for Hamilton on a team that wins another championship? Red Bull wouldn't let Sergio Perez go for Hamilton because they want their other drivers to do what Max Verstappen did and get to the top. His years at McLaren were some of his best, but I don't think he'll go back now. Now Hamilton could either go to Ferrari or stay at Mercedes. But if you think about it, the company might just agree to swap Lewis Hamilton for Charles Leclerc. Either way, the decision lies with Hamilton, and it looks like Ferrari isn't appealing to him. While it would be amazing to witness Lewis Hamilton behind the wheel of a Ferrari, the team's current standing in Formula One makes it unlikely that he'd consider them a better option than Mercedes. So, we'll just have to wait and see. And that's all I have on Lewis Hamilton's fall from grace.